Hey everybody, it's Shaman Sister Sin, and you're listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by littleshaman.org. That's me, the Little Shaman. Today I want to talk to you about forgiving yourself for being in a relationship with a narcissist in your life. It's not uncommon for people to feel very frustrated and upset with themselves when they finally realize the situation they're in. They wonder why they didn't see it sooner, why they didn't leave sooner, and they're often angry with themselves. They may feel stupid or be unable to let go of blaming themselves. This is understandable, but it's also self-defeating. Many people in relationships with narcissistic people can spend quite a bit of time believing they can help or get through to this person. They often spend years trying, only to eventually realize that there's nothing they can do to help a person who not only doesn't want help, but doesn't even realize what the problem is. Other times, the narcissist simply exits the relationship, leaving the person high and dry with no way to understand what happened. Either way, once the relationship ends and the fog clears, people usually start to see the relationship more clearly. They begin to see the abuse more clearly as well, and they may be angry at, confused by, or ashamed of their inaction. They may be embarrassed because they didn't see things for what they are, or because they didn't leave even though they knew they should have. People are often very hard on themselves after the relationship is over. And this is any kind of a relationship: parent, child, spouse, sibling, friend, co-worker. Hindsight is 20/20. This means that things always seem clear when you're looking back at them from a position where you know better. Things are a lot harder to evaluate when you're part of the emotion of the situation. As we've said in other episodes of the show, you can't observe a tornado when you're in the middle of it. All you can do is hold on and hope you don't die. It's only later, often, that you can look back on things and see them with any clarity, especially when things are emotional. It goes without saying, too, that narcissists are very manipulative. They know how to use people's emotions against them to get what they want. Many narcissists are extremely persuasive, and because their emotions are all, quote, real in the moment, as we say, they often come across as very sincere. Because of trauma bonding, enmeshment, and any number of other toxic bonding mechanisms, it is much harder to say no than to say yes in this situation. It's therefore understandable that people would be embarrassed or even angry at themselves, and as long as these emotions are helping you to heal and rebuild your life, they're appropriate. If it starts creating a situation where you're not able to move on because you can't let go of the anger at yourself, that's when it becomes a problem. Anger is a wonderful tool. It's often the propellant for change. People become angry enough that they decide they're simply not going to do this anymore. They leave the situation. And anger toward the situation or the abuser are expected. However, anger toward the self might be a surprise. People often find they have negative feelings toward themselves that are equal to or that are even greater than their anger at the abuser, especially when they see all the times they should have left but didn't, or when they realize later that they had more control over things than they believed or were willing to admit. The key is to use this anger or these negative feelings to make positive changes in yourself. If they're only making you feel badly about yourself, or worse, holding you back from progress, it's time to reevaluate the way you're looking at things. There's one thing that narcissists are correct about. It's easier to be a victim. When someone's a victim, they don't have to take responsibility for anything. That might seem like the way to go, especially when acknowledging responsibility is painful, but look at how that works for narcissists. They can never grow or change or learn because they can never acknowledge their role or responsibility in a situation. They are doomed to making the same mistakes and doing the same wrong things over and over again with no way out of it because they are in total denial that they're causing all these problems in their own lives. Take advantage of the ability you have to do this and improve your life, even if it's hard to admit or even if it's painful. There's a saying that maturity does not come with age, it comes with acceptance of responsibility, and that's very true. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody does stupid things. Everybody is a part of things they probably shouldn't have been at one time or another. Everybody has ignored their gut and done something they knew they should not do. We're all human and nobody's perfect. When we know better, we do better. If you now know better, you can now do better. The important thing is to learn the lessons you can learn from the pathologically narcissistic person in your life by acknowledging your role in the situation and addressing the issues it has exposed. For example, instead of berating yourself for not leaving, seriously investigate why you didn't. What were you thinking? What were you feeling? Were you afraid of something? Were you trying to prove something? If so, to who? Maybe you could write your reasons down and really examine and explore them. You got to be brutally honest, even if it's painful. In this way, you make the information you've learned work for you instead of against you. When we understand the problem, we can address it. That is how you keep the same problem from happening again, and that's the goal here. It's a delicate balance. You don't want to be too hard on yourself because that can impede progress, but you don't want to let yourself off too easy either because then the problem's not being addressed. It's important to try to view things as realistically as possible and to be really honest with yourself about your role in the situation. Sometimes talking with other people can help put things into perspective. And remember, this is not about blame. Blame as a practice is really only useful for as long as it takes to figure out responsibility in a situation, and that's it. Thereafter, it's pretty useless and serves no purpose except to stop progress. Once again, we can look at narcissists for our examples of that. In the end, we're all fallible. We all make mistakes. It can be difficult and it can be painful, but if you can use the emotions you feel and the lessons you've learned from the relationship to empower yourself and create positive changes in your life, you can let go of the anger and the shame. So work on forgiving yourself. You are allowed to be human. I hope this cleared a few things up for you. As always, I look forward to your comments, questions, and suggestions, so please keep those coming. You've been listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by littleshaman.org. That's me, the Little Shaman. May the Great Spirit bless you and have a wonderful day.